Again, welcome to Unit 3, Part 2 lectures. In these lectures, we're going to discuss about requirement analysis and determination. So our main learning objective is how to, again, create requirement definitions, and what is a functional requirement and non-functional requirement, and also various requirement analysis techniques. So first, we say that the system development process normally transforms an existing system into a proposed system. So requirement determination is the most single critical step of the entire software development lifecycle. Changes can be easily made in this stage. As we know, the waterfall model, we always start with the requirement analysis, designing, implementation, then testing. So requirement analysis is one of the earlier stages or phase of software development lifecycle. So if we can be able to detect an error or a mistake in this phase, it's easier to change because we haven't moved forward yet. But imagine if we cannot detect any error and we reach implementation phase. Already we have spent time and also money which is involved in the project. So changing it will require, again, those two items, time and money. By the earlier stages, which is the requirement analysis phase, is the best stage to correct any error. Very easy to correct the errors. And we also say that most of the time, over 50% of system failures are always due to the problem with the requirements. Requirement phase is where we normally get the information about the system, what the system will do, every activity the system will perform. So if we don't get the right information about all the activities that the system will perform, we are doomed to be failed in the project. So requirement analysis is one of the critical steps in the whole process of software development. And also it's an interactive process of object-oriented and system analysis design, because small batches of requirement can be identified and implemented incrementally. So this is like interactive process. I may develop a system. After I recognize some new features, I may again develop that features separately and integrate it to my system. So it's more or less more flexible, interactive also. So the purpose of requirement determination is to convert high-level business requirement from the system request. We remember system request is the document that is generated when the initiation of the project has been approved. So from there, we may have system requests which will be stated some of the tasks, or at least in abstract level, the tasks or functions that the system will perform. So our process here is that we are going to convert this information into more detailed technical activities, and that becomes the requirement system or requirement phase. So requirement, again, is a statement of what the system must do or the characteristic it must have. Characteristics means the quality of the system, such as the system is very fast, it's a user-friendly, easy to maintain. All these are characteristics. So functional requirement and non-functional requirement. And that's what we say. Functional requirement relate to the process or data, that means related to what the system will do, the task, the process. Non-functional, again, is the quality, the performance of the system. Is it user friendliness or the usability? Maintainable. So this is non-functional requirement in 4 different categories. Operational means the system should be able to fit in a pocket or a purse. This means it should be a mobile system. Or the system should be able to integrate with existing inventory system. Compatibility. The next is performance. Any interaction between the user and the system should not exceed 2 seconds. So the speed. The system should receive updated inventory information every 15 minutes. In security, example can be only direct managers or the president of the CEO can get access to personnel records of the staff. Or customers can see their order history only during the business hour for security reasons. Then cultural and political, this may be pertaining to international or global business. For example, US and Europe have different currency, or maybe some regulations, insurance, tax rules, etc. So requirement definition, we say there are two requirements, functional and non-functional requirements must be listed in outline format. We also have to prioritize it. So the tasks that are more important will come first in terms of functional requirements, and also provide information needed in a subsequent workflow. This will also help us to define the scope of the system so that we will avoid a scope creep. A scope creep is when you develop a system and you keep designing it, you keep adding more features, you keep adding without stopping. It may end up spending more time on the system development process and also spending more funds. And always in project management, we use the term scope creep to avoid it. So with the requirement definition, that can create at least the boundary or the scope of the system for us. So requirements are best determined by system analysis and also business people working together. The strategies that we normally use is called the business process analysis, business process improvement, business process reengineering. We will go detail on each one soon. Now, techniques for identify requirements, we have so many of them. An example can be the survey, observation, questionnaire, interviews, joint application development, or if there's a document, we can document about an existing system, we can analyze the document to get the input and output, what the system functions are. So to determine the type of functional and non-functional requirements applicable to the project, that's creating a requirement definition. Also, we need to use requirement gathering techniques to collect details. Analysis work with users to verify, change, and prioritize each requirement. So we can see that the software development process in the planning, analysis, design, those three phases, normally system analysis will be performing there. Then the next phase, which is the implementation, that's where the programmer will use his programming language or the tool to implement the system and test it also. So requirements that meet a need but are not within the current scope can be added to the list of future enhancement, like updating version of the system, news version. Also, analysis may not have access to the correct users, and requirement specification may be inadequate. Some requirement may not be known in the beginning. Verifying and validating requirement can be difficult. These are some of the drawbacks of requirement determinations, or I'll say the problems in requirement determinations. Most likely, system analysis may not have access to all the users or the sponsors or the correct data, or requirement specification may be inadequate. It's not enough. And some requirement may not be known in the beginning. This is the concept of scope creep. Also, verifying and also validating requirement can be very difficult. So this is the requirement analysis stages or strategies, I would say. First is the business processes automation, which is BPA. what we know normally is going to concern here is that the least amount of change to the current system. Use computer technology to automate some portion. So the strategy of business process automation means the existing system most likely will not be changed, or if it will be changed, just a few to least amount of change. Then the business process improvement, we need a moderate amount of change is required in the old system in order to get improved one. So designed to prove efficiency of the current system. Business process reengineering means if we have an existing system, it's like we are going to create a new one altogether. So the requirement, the changes is almost high, most amount of change, a complete makeover. This is focused on to-be system, later time is spent on the current system. So business process automation, which is the BPA, only few or little time is spent on the current system. I mean, in the BPA, a lot of time is spent on the current system because we are just going to update the current system. And then the BPI, which is the business process improvement, moderate amount of time is needed. Then BPR, which is the reengineering, business process reengineering, is almost complete makeover. So least amount of time is spent. Most amount of time is spent because we are making a new system. So the current system, we have to change it totally. So techniques that we can use, one is the problem analysis with the business process automation. Ask users to identify the problems with the current system. Ask users how they will solve these problems. Then good for improving efficiency or ease of use. We can use the technique called also root cause analysis, which will focus on the cause of the problem, not the solution. Then we create a prioritized list of problems, trying to determine their causes. Once we know their causes, then solution can be easily developed. And this is for the business process automation. Again, least amount is spent on the current system. Then business process improvement, we use the techniques called the duration analysis, which deal with the period of time. So determine the time required to complete each step in the business process. Then we compare this to the total time required for the entire process. Now, large differences suggest problems that might be solved by integrating some steps together or performing some steps simultaneously in parallel. We can also use activity-based costing, which is same as duration analysis, but here we are applying cost to it. Then informal benching, that's analysis, similar process in other successful organizations. So we form the completed one, we are going to form a benchmark to follow. Then business process reengineering, this will institute a maximum change. It's that we are creating new system, not from the existing system, complete makeover. So we can use something like outcome analysis. What does the customer want in the end? Technology analysis, we should apply new technologies to business process and identify the benefit. Also activity elimination. We should eliminate each activity in a business process in a force fit exercise. So selecting an appropriate strategy, we have some few things here. Again, we have the business process automation, business process improvement, business process reengineering. Reengineering, we spend a lot of time in a new system, less time on the current system, moderate time on a new system, same apply to the current system. So here, potential business value, business process reengineering is very high because we are creating a new system altogether. Business process automation is least change, so to be low or to moderate. The project cost, of course, the first two will be low because here we spend less time on the new system, more time on the current system, moderate time on the current system. But in business process reengineering, we spend less time on the current system, more time on building the new system. So project costs will be very high. The breadth of analysis is also very broad with the business process reengineering. Since we are not changing much to business process automation to be narrow, and the risk will be almost nothing because we are still using the existing system. Business process improvement, the same thing, we are still using the existing system. But with the business process reengineering, since we are developing a new system, the risk will be high, especially if we are using a new technology. So these are some of the process requirement gathering techniques. Here we say process is used to uncover all requirements. Those uncovered late in the process are more difficult to incorporate. Build support and trust among users. I think that's the most important. We are going to get most of the data or information or the behavior of the system from the users. Now, which techniques we should use? It can be an interview, joint application development, questionnaire. If we have a document about the current system, we can do a document analysis on it, then observation also. So interview is the most popular technique. If you need to know something, just ask. We select people to interview and create a schedule. Design interview questions. The question can be open-ended or closed-ended. Closed-ended means we have one answer. Open-ended means more or less more than one answer, like suggestions. Prepare for interview. We have unstructured and structured interview. Structured interview means the questions are organized in very structured order. Unstructured means it's not organized, more flexible. Then conduct the interview top-down versus bottom-up. We may discuss about that. So this is different types of questionnaire types. A close-ended means, for example, how many telephone orders are received per day? It's one correct answer. How do customers place orders? It's a close-end. Now let's say open-end question. What do you think? So this can be a suggestion about current system. What are some of the problems? So more than one answer. So we can see the difference between close-ended and open-ended questions. Then probing questions is like you want to ask. So why? Can you give me an example? Can you explain that in a bit more detail? This will be probing examples or questions. Now the interview strategy can be top-down, as we said, or bottom-up. So we can say top-down, we go from how can order processing be improved? How can we reduce the number of times the customers return order items? And how can we reduce the number of errors in processing the item? So you can see that top-down means we start with the highest level, then we go detail a little bit. Bottom-up means how can we, because by having an error in our orders, most likely this order will be returned back to us. So top-down means we start with the outcome and we break it, get detail into the causes of the outcome. Bottom-up means the causes to the outcome. So we have the high level, medium level, then low level. Low level is more specific. So here we can see examples, how can we reduce the number of errors in order processing? So this is a post-interview, person interview, the name, department, interviewer name, purpose of interview, summary of interview, and open items, etc. So this is just again a template of a specific post-interview. So the next one can be the joint application development. In this case, it's this kind of close to brainstorming. So we call this joint because we have maybe two or more analysis. So joint user analysis meeting, and we may have one facilitator. So it can be 10 to 20 users or 1 to 2 scribes as needed to record the session, usually in a specially prepared room. The meetings can be held electronically or anonymously. Goal here is to reduce problem in group setting, and this can be held remotely. Sessions also require careful planning to be successful. Other users may need to bring documents or user manual, or ground rules should be established. So a set of written questions used to obtain information from individuals. So this can also be called surveys, questionnaire. Maybe paper-based, or nowadays most surveys are email. So it can be a web-based. Common users can be large number of people, need both information and opinions when designing for use outside the organization. We hope the typical response for a paper will be less than 50%, with the email or the web less than 30% approximately. So these are the questionnaire steps. Select the participants. So we identify what kind of population we want to again interview. Then use the representative samples for large populations. After we select the participants, then we design the questionnaire. Administer the questionnaire, then questionnaire follow-up. So good questionnaire design will begin with non-threatening and interesting question. It must be user-friendly. You don't ask a question and threat somebody, most likely will not even participate in the interview process no more. So group items into logical coherent sections. No important items at the very end. Do not crowd a page with too many items. We should also avoid abbreviations, avoid bias or suggestive items or terms. Number questions to avoid confusion. So we should always number the questions. And also pre-test to identify confusing questions and provide any anomalies to again response. So next is the document analysis techniques. Here we provide information about the assist system, which is the existing system, and also review technical documents when available. Review typical user documents such as form, reports, policy manuals if they are available. And also look for user additions to forms. Look for unused form elements. Observation also is a very good technique. Here, users or manager often don't remember everything they do. So you go to a working site or something, workers are working, you just observe what they are doing, then gather your data. So sometimes behavior may change if people know that they are being watched. So this will be one of the bias of observation. Workers tend to be very careful when watched, keep a low profile, try not to interrupt or influence workers. That's the key. Otherwise, we may get a wrong data. So requirement gathering techniques compare. These are some of the techniques. We say assess, interview, joint application design, questionnaire, document analysis, and observation. So here we say type of information, depth of the information. In terms of questionnaire is medium. In terms of observation is low. User involvement also is low because here you are just observing and take your note. So user don't get input on it. And even they have, it's very low comparing to the rest. Like example, interview and also joint application design. There are also some alternative techniques. One example is the concept maps. This normally represent the meaningful relationship between concepts and focus individuals on small number of key ideas. So developing a system, concept maps will make it possible for us, maybe if we identify some attributes or some characteristics, we present it with some other output. So input with output together. Example can story cards and task list. associated with the agile development method, FACAS, with a single requirement, and also each requirement is discussed, how much effort is required to implement it. A task list is created for each requirement. A large requirement always can be split into smaller sections. So next we go to the system proposal. Here we're going to combine all the materials created in planning and analysis, from system requests to the requirement phases, all the data we correct. Then we're going to create our executive summary, provide all critical information, help the executive determine which section they need to read more details. So we have the system request, the work plan, feasibility analysis, the requirement definition, and this will consist of the system proposal. So this is the example. We have the table of content, executive summary, system request, work plan, feasibility analysis, requirement definition, functional, structural model, behavior model, and appendices. So in summary, our main goal of this lecture is to go through what is a requirement phase, a requirement analysis, types of requirement analysis, and how the process works. For example, the techniques we use to gather data or gather requirements, the concept of system proposal, etc. So again, wish everybody the best. Thank you.